Hi, everyone. It's Coach Cary here, and welcome to today's message about 100 Days of Change. And we are talking about the kickoff of the 100-day period, which will be coming up on Saturday. And so we have 6 days to go. And during this time, I want to spend a little bit of time explaining what we'll be doing during the 100 days. So what we want to do is we're working on health, wealth, and happiness during these 100 days. And we just came off a 100-day period where we worked on the same three principles. And I know for me, after about 30 days into this 100-day period, it was already making a significant difference for me. And I know a lot of our followers were asking questions and wondering, what can I do to be healthier? What can I do to be happier? And what can I do to be wealthier? And so we want to focus on these three things going forward. And today specifically, I'm going to give you a few tips here on YouTube. And if you're watching on Instagram, you'll just have to listen as I go along. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see my slides. But when we talk about ways to be healthier, here's some things we're going to be talking about in this 100-day period. So one of the things you can do is just fill your plate with non-starchy vegetables. So instead of eating vegetables that have high sugar counts and starches, focus on ones that have more fiber. And those foods could be things like celery. Those could be things like like avocados would be really good, versus things like beets that have a lot of sugar and a lot of starch in them, or potatoes. Potatoes have a lot of starch in them too. So we really want to start to cut down on the sugars during this 100-day period and kind of go to a lower carb diet. And that's going to make a big difference for our insulin levels, and it's going to make a big difference for our health in general. Eat from a smaller plate or a bowl. So if you're trying to keep your weight down and you want to stay in good shape, eat from a smaller plate or bowl. Personally, I like to use a bowl, and I find a bowl is easier, kind of smaller portions. And if you use a bowl and you're still hungry, you can go and get some more. But if you use a plate, sometimes the inclination is to fill up the plate, and the volume of the food is going to be twice as much as if you have a bowl. Reduce your carbs. So keep those carbs down, because they end up leading to sugar spikes, and then the sugar either has to be burned up in the bloodstream or it gets put away as fat. So I'm actually going to be talking more about the keto diet and low sugar, low carb going forward in the 100 days. So if you're interested in that, I'll be sharing some tips from my book called The 100-Day Diet, where last year I lost 30 pounds in 100 days. So and this year I'd like to lose about 10 or 15 more pounds. And so I'm right at that 199 level. 185 would be perfect for me. And where I came from was 230 pounds. So really reduce that to now under 200. Try a standing desk. So if you sit a lot, get a desk that either you could stand at, or I like those desks that can elevate and go down. So basically they're powered. You can stand for a period of time, you can sit for a period of time. So really, they're flexible and they're powered, so you don't have to do a lot of lifting of the desk or tweaking the desk. And alternating, like half an hour of standing, half an hour of sitting, is really good. And a lot of people sit at their desk now, whether it's at home or they're going back to work. Sitting is, there's more and more research coming out saying sitting is not good for you if you sit for too long. I use on my watch, on my Apple Watch, it reminds me if I've been sitting too long. So it tries to get me to stand every hour. You might want to get an app like that where you can get a reminder to stand up each hour. Unplug your devices. So turn off your phone. Don't look at it. You can listen to a podcast, or you can do the audio part, but just don't be looking at your phone, because the light from your phone an hour before bedtime or within that hour before you go to bed can stimulate your retina. And if it stimulates your retina, it's going to keep you or prevent you from sleeping. And you just don't want to be You just don't want to be, awake when, let's say, you want to fall asleep by 10 or by 12, and you're reading your phone, you're watching a news story or a video, and then you're trying to fall asleep after that. It can be difficult because if your retina is stimulated by light, it's not producing melatonin, and you need melatonin in order to sleep. Try meditation. Meditation's really good. It's something I started practicing last year, and meditation's great for calming your brain. It helps you to focus better. It helps you to deal with stress. And so meditation has a number of physical benefits as well as mental benefits too. We're going to talk more about meditation during this 100-day period. We're also going to do some workshops or master classes where we're going to teach you how to meditate. So not only are we going to introduce these topics to you at the free webinars, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper with a follow-up masterclass. And then if you need some extra help, we'll do some one-on-one coaching with you. Now, ways you can be happier. So we've been doing research on happiness, and I think this is probably the weakest out of the three during the last 100 days because it's a little bit more subjective. But I know for me and a lot of people, you just want to be happier. Sometimes you read the news or you watch the news, you see stories coming out of Ukraine, and you just, your heart goes out to the Ukrainian people. Or maybe, with the what's happened the last 2 years with lockdowns and stuff, you really want to focus on the positive. So in the next 100 days, we're going to be talking about ways you can be happier. And so some of the research says that just smiling can bring a lot more happiness into your life. So you have to make the effort to smile. I know during my training for running, that was one of the things that the coach said during that period was, if you smile, you run better. And I did make an effort to smile, whether it was at the Las Vegas Marathon or in my training, when things were getting a little tough or starting to feel some pain, just trying to smile through that. And it just changes the way your brain works. Be grateful. And probably the most research on being happy is just being grateful for what you have. So just take a look around you. Rather than looking at things you don't have and the lack, turn that around and to be grateful for what you do have. So that could be your house, or that could be your car, or that could be the money you have in your bank account, or it could be some of the possessions you have, the people around you, your family, friends, your neighbors. So there's a lot of things that we can be grateful for. And rather than focusing on what we don't have, really focusing on what we do have and being grateful for that. Declutter is another thing. And the first few days of the 100-day cycle, we're going to focus on decluttering. And that includes physical items, like maybe going into your garage and clearing out your garage, clearing out your office, your kitchen, your bedroom. But then we're going to also talk about decluttering your computer, your phone. We need to make some space. And if we make some space, then we're going to fill the void with new stuff that's going to be more productive for our lives. So this is something we did in the last 100-day period. It was very successful for me personally, because what it did is it just got rid of some of the stuff that really wasn't working for me. It created a void or space to fill with new things. And as we filled that void, things really started to change. And what I mean by things is just the daily routine changed, the productivity changed, the outcomes changed. So we really want to focus on decluttering in a number of ways. And we're going to talk about that going forward here early on in the 100-day process. Plan ahead. So just better planning, setting goals, setting bigger goals, like dream goals. Will lead to more happiness for you, because it's good to have vision and direction, and kind of re-evaluating that from time to time. So during the 100-day period coming up, we're going to do 3 30-day cycles in the 100 days. Last 100 days, we didn't do that. We just had a 100-day period. And I found that after about 30 days, a lot of my short-term goals were accomplished. So I think we could have used a refresh. And so this time we're going to do 3 30-day cycles in the 100 days, and we're going to do a little bit of reevaluation in between those 30 days so that we can reset our goals. So a lot of those short-term goals will be accomplished, the medium-term goals, a few of those will be done too. And we just want to reassess and then set some new goals for ourselves. And then the other thing that can make you happier is giving more. So charity, philanthropy. So you can't wait to receive in order to give. It's the other way around. You first have to give. So if there's somebody in need, whether it's they need some help with something physical, they need some help moving something, they need some help with your expertise, let's say, and they don't have it, then you want to be able to give them your expertise, your time. Financially, if you can give them help, it's good to give that way too. And you want to do that without making a big deal out of it. So you don't really want to show everyone that you gave someone your money or your time. You basically want to do it quietly. And that's going to give you a sense of accomplishment, of that you did good in the world. And that's going to make you happier too. And the sixth item I have here on the slide is forgiveness. So in order to be happier, you have to forgive. You can't hold on to things that maybe are affecting you in a negative way. And I know it's hard sometimes. You know, you feel victimized or on the wrong side of what someone else did. But really, long term, it's you that is affected. It's you're the one who is going to be most affected, not the person who did that. Whatever it was, maybe it was they said something or did something. You really want to forgive them. And we'll be talking more about unconditional love going forward and how that can lead to happiness. It's going to be challenging, I know, but if we can let go of some of those things, definitely it's going to free us up and make us feel happier. The last slide I have here is ways to be wealthier. And I know a lot of people are interested in being wealthier. The thing about this is a lot of people go after a short-term, quick, get-rich-quick kind of schemes. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about ways that on a daily basis you can make a difference to have more wealth long-term. So one of the tips here is multiple streams of income. So just branching out and having multiple streams of income. So maybe you have a job, but there's something else you could do to pull in some income. For me, I'm a chiropractor, so I go to work on a daily basis, but I also do things like, excuse me, I've written some books that produces another source of income for me. I do the coaching here, the consulting at True North. That's another source of income. And rentals for property rentals. So those things can bring in other sources of income. And you do want multiple income streams because sometimes one income stream is affected or another. And you want to be able to be dynamic, have a lot of options for yourself. More income is going to help to make you wealthier. So if you can be more productive, we're going to talk about that during the 100 days, ways you can be more productive in what you do. Decrease your expenses. Sometimes there's some frivolous spending. So things like subscriptions, you subscribe, let's say, to an app on your phone and you forget about it and you're paying on a monthly basis or a yearly basis for something like an antivirus program and you totally forgot about it. And now it's running through on your credit card on a monthly or yearly basis. Or maybe there's something in your home that you're not using anymore that has value that you could easily sell and produce some income from that. Or maybe you could reduce your expenses by moving closer to your workplace so you don't have to travel as much. Reduce your insurance amount by changing the riders on your insurance policy. So we're going to talk about things like that where you can decrease your expenses and just make things a little bit more leaner. And by reducing expenses, and increasing your income, you're going to have better cash flow. The other thing we'll talk about is changing your mindset about money. So just your view of money. Money is a medium, a way of exchanging value. So sometimes people don't think about that. And money is just what someone's willing to pay for something you have, or some type of service. So either a product or a service. And so think about it that way. What can you exchange with someone for money? And then, of course, you're going to spend that money in another way. So this is just the way we trade things that have value in a society or between people. So we're going to talk more about the approach and the mindset towards money in this 100 days. Save more. So by doing what we just talked about, you're going to be able to save more. So as your money accumulates in your bank account, don't spend it, but rather invest it. And my 6th point here is invest in assets that appreciate, especially right now because we're in an inflationary environment. Inflation, I was just reading the inflation rate is around 7%. So this is different for us because in the last 20, 30 years, we really haven't seen a lot of inflation since maybe the early 1980s. So it's been like 40 years really since we've had inflation. So you want to keep an eye on that. $1 today is not going to be worth what $1 is next year. So in a year, your $1 won't be able to buy you the same thing as right now. So let's say a loaf of bread is $4 and you have $4 in your bank account. And let's just fast forward to a year later, you won't be able to buy a loaf of bread at $4 with 7% inflation. So a loaf of bread is going to cost you $4.30. So that's what I mean by inflation can start to erode the value of cash. So what do you want to do with it? You want to take the cash and invest wisely. Things that appreciate, especially with inflation. And these things can be like property values. So investing in a home or owning a home or some land, that's a good way to, a good place to put your money, because in a year your land's going to be worth more, at least 7% more, most likely. Some areas might be worth more than that, or a little bit less. Gold and silver. And I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not going to tell you where to invest your money, but gold and silver will appreciate with inflation as well. So they're a good store of value. And then more recently, people have been talking more about cryptocurrency. I personally like cryptocurrency. I know some people don't. But investing in cryptocurrency, especially in ones like Bitcoin, where there's a finite supply of Bitcoin, that's going to increase in value, because as more and more people want Bitcoin and there's only so much Bitcoin, the price is going to go up. It's just supply and demand. So I really like Bitcoin long term. I also like Ethereum, which is another type of cryptocurrency, which has more kind of utilization. I saw someone compare Bitcoin and Ethereum recently to gold and silver. Gold being a really good store of value like Bitcoin, and silver being more like Ethereum, where there may be a little bit more practical use to it. So I thought that was an interesting analogy. Maybe not exactly, but it is an interesting analogy to where you can put your money and store your value. Buying a car, not really a good idea, because generally if you're driving a car in a year, it's not going to be worth as much as it is today. Buying things that depreciate, not a good idea. If you want to increase your assets and be wealthier, you really want to focus on things that are going to appreciate with inflation, especially in this environment, as we're just starting to see inflation now in the last few months. And I think it's going to continue for some time. All right, so now how do you get started with True North? What can you do based on what we just talked about? Well, we're going to have more free webinars where we're going to talk about these topics, and we'll probably break them out into a happiness webinar, a wealth creation webinar, a health webinar. So you can go to our website. I'll put a link below, or you can go to the bio on Instagram. click on that, and then you can go over to our webinars and you can sign up for free for one of these webinars coming up. If you like the webinar and you want to know more, then sign up for the masterclass that will follow the free webinar. So we're going to have a masterclass that'll get more into the details of what we discussed at the free webinar. We're going to encourage participation where you can chat or ask questions. And then the last thing that you can do is some coaching. So if you're come to the free webinar, you come to the masterclass, and you still have questions like, how do I implement this? Or what do I do? Because sometimes people get stuck and they're kind of in a place where they're not sure what direction to move or what they should do first. That's where coaching is going to help. And I do all the coaching here at True North. So what you can do is sign up for a one-on-one coaching session. We have a 15-minute, a 30-minute, and a 45-minute initial session. Based on that session, I'll get to know you and what your goals are, what your dreams are, because I think everybody's different and I respect that. In fact, we called our company True North because we know everybody has their own True North. So we really want to respect who you are. We don't want to encourage you to kind of follow a system that's good for someone else. And too many coaching programs have a pre-canned kind of system to their coaching. We want to find out more about you. We want to encourage you to follow your path. And what we want to do is provide help. And the best coaching is where we're asking you questions, we're reflecting back to you some of the ideas you have, and if we have any experience in that area, or if I have any thoughts for you, just to get you thinking a little bit different about your goals and about your direction and what direction you're pointed. You might be a little bit off at northeast or maybe northwest. And really, we need that compass to focus more on True North. So that's what we do here at True North Consulting. And if you're interested, go over to our webinar page on our website, sign up for some of the upcoming events, then the master classes, and finally the coaching sessions. So thanks for joining me today, you guys. I'll try to post on a daily basis more live videos leading up to the webinar, so you know what we're going to be talking about. I'll try and share some more stories with you and some of the success stories and some of the obstacles we're facing along the way. Day one is going to be March 12th, which is Saturday, and that'll kick off the 100-day period. So if you don't already have one, go to the shop area of our website and you can download the journal. It's the 100-day journal, and you can follow along. You can set your goals, set your action steps, write down your obstacles that you're encountering, and then after a 30-day period, we're going to reset to another 30 days and then reset to that final 30 days in this 100-day cycle. So thanks for joining me today, you guys, and have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.